Hey everybody, it's your boy Calculon, and I'm back for another VEX Code VR video. This time I'm going to be going over drawing a triangle with a turn to heading command. Let's get into it. Here we are in our grid map. Nope, we need our art canvas. So first thing we're going to do is change our playground to the art canvas, and we need to draw a triangle. So let's think about what that should look like. Well, it hopefully looks like that, something like it. Well, before we can start drawing, we'll need to first move the robot to one of those positions. So the key here is it's different than drawing the house or drawing your initials in that we're not just using the turn right or turn left commands for some number of degrees. We're going to be turning to heading. Now you'll notice there's a heading intrinsically as our robot is looking up. If you look at this compass rose over here, you'll see that up is the heading 0 degrees. And as we go around the circle, right is 90 degrees, down is 180 degrees, and so on. So we can change the orientation of our robot to head that direction no matter which direction we're facing. This is very useful because we could be totally turned around as long as we just want to, hey, we need to go up. We could tell our robot to turn to heading 0 and it'll go up as we see up. So let's start with turn to heading 0 degrees. Well, we're already there, so we don't really need that, but we need to move before we start drawing. So let's go forward. I don't know, 800 millimeters. Try that out. Ooh, pretty good, pretty good. Let me go to 700 just so I don't have to redraw my circle. All right, so we are at one tip of our triangle, okay? Now, I would like to go down and right. And I know from my compass that down and right should be about 135 degrees. But I'm going more than 135 degrees because I'm going a little bit more south than down and right. We're kind of going south by southeast. So let's turn to heading. 145. And let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. So before we go forward, we need to make sure we are actually drawing on the art canvas. So let's go back to the looks and move robot pen down before we start drawing. That way we're going to leave behind us a blue line. And then we're going to drive forward. So back to the drivetrain, drive forward. Well, if this was 700 millimeters, this is probably about 1400 millimeters. Now, before I proceed, I'm going to go ahead and change my velocity. All right, so this should just help us turn and move a little bit faster so you don't have to wait on my robot to move slowly. Let's reset it, and altogether we should hopefully end up in the lower right-hand corner of our triangle. All right, looks pretty good. Now, of course, this isn't a straight line, so I didn't say completely on it. Now I need to turn what I've drawn as due west. So due west is 270 degrees heading. So let's turn to heading. And notice I don't have to try to calculate like, okay, so I need to turn more than right, and it's a little bit more than that. No, I just know if I want to go due west, it's 270 degrees. And then I'm going to go forward. I'd like this to be an equilateral triangle. So equilateral triangles, equiangular triangles all have the same side lengths and angles. So let's go to about 1400 millimeters again. Drive forward for 1400 millimeters. Please, when you're making your triangle, don't use the same measurements as mine. I'm obviously not going to accept plagiarism. I'm doing this as an experiment to, well, my first time doing this, hopefully help you, and it looks like I'm not going to end up with an equilateral triangle. Rip. Now, as you're doing this, I want you to make sure you're choosing your own measurements and distances. We shouldn't all have the same triangle. That would be plagiarism. It would make me very sad. Looking pretty good. So now we just need to turn back to north by northeast and head back to our starting point up here. And from last time, we should be in the same location where we started this whole thing. Oh, I lost my ink. Anyhow, well, I can see what I'm doing now. I need to make sure I get back to my starting point up here. So let's turn to heading, and we're going north by northeast, so just a little bit short of 45 degrees. Let's turn to heading 45 degrees, and then move back about the same length as this side. So we're going to go about 1400 millimeters forward. We missed. So we have a couple of options here. We can move a little bit before we set our pen down, or we could change this angle a bit. I'm going to change my angle, so I'm going with a less extreme angle. I did say I was going north of a up and right, so that should have been not northeast, but north by northeast, maybe 35, 38 degrees. Let's try 38 degrees, just because I like weird things. Paste. Like a glove. All right, so we didn't quite hit the exact point we started at, but this should suffice.
A few inches later.
This is how you can use the turn to heading command to make sure you can navigate more easily in terms of up, down, left, right, northeast, southwest, etc., without having to do all the math each time, but just by referring to a compass. Hopefully this has been helpful and that you're able to now do this on your own. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye!